here at Cancun National Park. Cancun, not Cancun. It's a tropical rainforest national park here in Ghana. It has a bunch of activities and adventures. There's tree houses, hiking trails, restaurants, a bunch of stuff. They even have like they have a huge bee collection, stingless bees. So you can walk amongst the bees, they don't sting you. You can even taste stingless bee honey and stuff like that. So it's hot. It's like at least 35 degrees. We're gonna check it out. There's a bunch of like lizards and snakes and iguanas just walking around. You can see a small one in here. Look. Oh, he cut. Oh, that's a bit. But we're gonna do the canopy. Mom. Huh?
Dad, do you have money on you?
No. Here's Ted.
I gave you 50 cedis. Whenever you buy, ask the price before you pay them.
Okay. We're on this reserve with a hike up through the mountains. There's a bunch of monkeys, wild cats, etc. So we're about to find out what's really popping.
You ready?
Yeah, born ready.
Okay.
Out here, man. Rooftop climbing. Over here, on top of the roof. This is deep. How many meters up is this, you said?
40 meters, that's alone.
40 meters. Going this way, or that way. Somewhere.
I just want you to have the experience.
Lit. How was it? Shaky bridge?
Yeah, shaky.
Give it a watch. We out here, bro. I'm in the middle of the canopy. There's 7 bridges. I'm on the 4th one right now. I don't know how my tour guide got here, but he got here. How'd you get there? Oh, you did the bypass. Yeah. I wish I brought proper shoes. I did not. I'm in long vine slides, man. They're not been the proper shoes for this. This is bridge number 4?
Yeah.
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 more bridges. 1, 2, 3. I think then it goes back in a loop. It's a circle, right?
1, 2, then the last one goes this way.
Oh, it goes that way.
Bypass, the one in the bypass.
Hmm.
That's how you go there.
Okay. Bless. Gotcha, man. Let's see how high this is. This shit is high as shit. Gotcha, though. Alright, on to the next one. The last bridge, number 7. We're conquering all fears.
Look what on your hand.
Through Christ. You can hear the hit shaking. Look, we're here. Look at this nail. Get this nail. When you get up, when you get to it, just lift it up.
Don't pick it up.
Give him a watch.
Yeah. When I look.
How do you feel? You conquered that flex. Yeah. She did the whole. She did the whole thing. All 7 bridges. Hiking. Vibing. And slides. I'd eat them.
There's no like people video because I don't have space on my phone. Like, how is this possible? It doesn't?
Parkour.
Oh, they do.
It's a bird.
I would literally collapse. No. Elephants are very kind animals.
No, they're not.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay, so take some pictures. The guy they talk about.
Let's go up there. This is where they bury people. This is a Cape Coast castle. If you know the history of this place, you know this was a main slave port in the transatlantic slave trade, where a lot of West Africans got sold to, like, people think mainly United States, but majority of the slaves went to Brazil. But African Americans and Afro Brazilians come from this place. Now this is used as a history lesson to teach future generations. We're bound to repeat history if we don't learn from it. So, take this as a learning lesson. Unfortunately, people who ran these slave castles claim to be Christians, but we know there's fanatics in all religions. And this is obviously not what Christ represents. It's a huge castle. Now we got locals that use it as a marine to fish and do such things. Let me see how much one of these cannonballs weighs. This weighs probably about 10 to 15 pounds, if not more.
She ate the bread, right? She ate the bread. Let's come. Okay.
Inception.
Here, put cafe. Thank you. Okay, me and Nick.
Graves. These are graves.
Okay.
They named the area Elmina, wanted to be Elmina today. And they built the oldest European building over there, the Elmina Castle, from 1482. Now in Ghana, there are just 3 castles, the rest are forts. The Danes also built the Christian War Castle at Osu, Accra, around 1661. And finally, in 1664, the English constructed the King's Castle. And this was built purposely for the transatlantic slave trade. Meaning the other 2 were warehouses where resources would be kept. Later was transformed into slave dungeons. Therefore, we escape West Castle is a good opportunity to see real dungeons designed for humans to stay in. Waiting slave ships to complete with us. They will get choked. Yes, indeed, they got choked. The captives were staying in their mess. Now this chamber was excavated in the year 1974, and that is when these bricks, the beds which we see on the floor, were found to be the original floor of the dungeon. The whole area was covered up with human waste. And the level of the waste at the time of excavation is the white markings we see on the wall. So you can see some white markings on the wall. They are archaeological markings.
Also the market.
Yes, please. As high as this, human beings wasted here. Now, personally, Amanda, no illusion that you saw Africans to be good commodities, cow, and not humans. How could you keep 200 people in here? This to give them their lives and tell them you value such people. How would they even sleep? History has it that in most cases they would just lean against the wall. There were mess all over. You wouldn't want to sleep in the mess. This served as a spy hole to spy on the captives in freedom. In Ghana, here, Christianity started in the slave castles and dungeons. This is the third chamber in the new slave dungeon. And right on top of this very chamber was a church. A church by name Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, SPG. Currently is the Anglican Church or the Church of England we know today. Interestingly, right in front of the church was a sky hole through which they were monitoring the movements of the captives in the dungeon, right in front of the church. Now, if they came down here to spread Christianity, why were the captives not invited to the church? Why was the church meant for the Europeans only in the castle? 2, during the time of the trade, the churches at the time preached that Africans have no souls to be saved. So
Have no souls to be saved.
yes, please. So why do we spread the gospel?
So the soul that can be saved.
No, to propagation, let people know.
Exactly. Now you don't have souls to be saved.
Great story, let people know.
Just
Ideas
great
to know.
stories.
So the gospel is made.
Was it?
Okay, from God.
That's what they say.
They are the
And sadly, they use the Bible to cover up their
Exactly.
evil
Cover
deeds.
up.
Yeah.
They use the Bible to cover their
So
evil
how
deeds.
can we believe them with the gospel?
Because they've been able to get it into you.
And so I would love if
That's how they can
would
come.
have this chamber, but yet the place is quite bright. It's as a result of this hole. And this was not meant to give the captives light or air. They had their own purpose, and it was to their benefit.
For them to see things clear, yeah?
As if you know.
Yeah.
So this was to give them air and light. The captives ate here. Now they themselves knew that, looking at the conditions in the dungeon, before the slave ship arrived, some of the captives would be very sick and weak as they can't make the journey. So they would have to separate them from the strong ones. To be able to do that, they created this.
So they can see that clear.
Separation done in chains and shackles, the strong ones will walk through a channel that connected the male slave dungeon to the door of no return. Wickedness. The male captives coming in this way were not going to go out the same way they came. Instead, an exit was created for them this way. The tunnel has been blocked. It was blocked in 1834. It is right behind this wall to tell us slave trade has ended.
But it did not.
No, it ended at somewhere 1888. And after that, do you know what they did? They redeemed. Perfecto. They were just forcing them to meet. To give offsprings. This is an altar, and this depicts the African traditional religion. Personally, I always say that Africa knew God before the Europeans arrived. That is because there are indigenous languages, local words like Mau, it means God.
Jinyame.
Nyankopon means God.
Yes.
Just as he said, Jinyami.
Yes.
So we were already mentioning the name of God. If we didn't know God, how were we mentioning his name? Why were we mentioning his name? Now the mode of communication was the problem. But the beliefs, trust me, it was similar. For example, there were 3 basic beliefs in Africa. Africans believed that God is not closer to man. Therefore, God has representatives on earth known as spirits. So for you to communicate to God, you can do that through these spirits. And it's quite similar with the Christian religion. They believe in the Holy Spirit. Tell me it's not the messenger of God. Tell me it's not the active force of God. Is that not the representative of God? Africa believed that if a man lives a pious life and dies, that person becomes an ancestor and is closer to God. You can communicate to God through such person. Christians believe in saints. Tell me they are not human. Tell me they don't believe you can pray to God through these people. How different is they from the ancestors? Africa believed in the nature of God. So Africa had a belief that God is nature. Therefore, you can communicate to God through the natural things God created. Tell me Christians don't believe this, that God is a supreme natural being. Yet when the African practice is on, it was seen to be demonic and evil. Family, everything black was evil. Now the locals were worshipping over here. There is a very huge rock that occupies about 70% of this castle's foundation. That was what they were communicating or worshipping God through. In some books it is written that Africa was worshipping natural objects. No, it's a lie. There was no tribe, no kingdom in Africa that was worshipping stones, trees, no. Instead, they were worshipping through. And Christians believe this. They say Akwanche. Is that not natural object that they give them? Now let's imagine ourselves in chains and shackles, walking through such tunnel. No hole to give you air. In chains and shackles, the captives, the male ones, will get to this very point. This end was also blocked in 1834. Now, initially, the door of no return was somewhere here, a very short and narrow door, of which for an average human to walk through. And sometimes, excuse yourself a bit, before you can go through the door of no return. I don't know why they actually made a door of no return like that, because at the Elmina castle, same thing was done. Christian book, same thing. The various forts, same thing. I believe it was for white supremacy. The European culture is actually based on these three pillars: destruction, indoctrination, white supremacy. So yes, the Africans were good. You don't have to bow to your master.
They still try to do though.
Oh yeah, they still
They still try to do. They still try to. They think they can still assume the same position that they were before.
Oh yes, that is because the leaders we have today are very greedy. They are very greedy and don't think about us. They think about their pockets only. Now this door of no return was blocked because during high tide, seawater was coming in, disturbing the activities. The slaves were the investment of the Europeans. I say this because some insurance companies, banks we know today, came out as a result of the slave trade. You can talk of Lloyds of London, Barclays Bank. So they had to block this door of no return. New one was created this way. Let's see the new door of no return. Before we see the new door of no return, in the castle there were punishment cells. Yes, some of the captives were seen to be stubborn. Their crime was fighting for freedom. So a condemned cell was designed for the captives in the castle, as well as the female punishment cell. We stand right in front of the female punishment cell. A cell made to punish females who wanted to protect their little dignity left. If you say no to rape in the castle, you'll be here. So the females who resisted rape in the castle were brought in here. A hole of pit in there for them to ease themselves. In this very punishment cell, you'll be fed just once a day. Food and water will pass here. The door of heat, locked up all the time. After some days, you could be returned back into the female slave tower. Just to frustrate you. This was to serve as a punishment. So the next time if I've been selected to be raped, I'll just agree.
So what? Oh, let's go, guys. Let's get in.
It was very dark in here. The females here died.
Why is this one so dark?
The door was very short and narrow, somewhere here. It was not as big as we see it today, enlarged. during colonial times. Now, before Cape Coast or Accra became the capital city of Ghana, it was once Cape Coast, with the seat of governance in this very castle. So yes, good. You have to move in and out. English, they don't mind gold. Festival known as Emancipation Day. Now, this is a festival being celebrated in Jamaica. And during the time, our president at the time was invited, the late John Jerry Rawlings. Upon his arrival, he thought it wise for Ghana to also celebrate the same festival. And 2 mortal remains of former enslaved Africans who went through this day and never ever returned were exhumed and brought back to the African continent. Through same door of no return, they were ushered in with a ceremony dubbed the Great Homecoming. Indeed, it was a great homecoming. They didn't come alive, but at least they were buried on their own soil. They were not buried in the castle. They were buried at Asen Mansu. That is because we don't know where exactly they are from in Africa. But Asen Mansu happens to be one of the largest slave markets, where all the captives would take their last bath before going into the various forts and castles. That's why they are being buried over there. So their graves are still there. Also, today we are all returning back through the door of return and experience the condemned cell. Let's go through the door of return. Made of birch pine wood or timber. A cell designed to kill humans. You walk in alive, dead bodies were carried out. Their crime, fighting for freedom. If you try escaping from the castle, unsuccessful, you'll be brought in here. Those who were fighting officers constantly to be freed, they were brought in here. I call them the freedom fighters. Yes. In some books, it is stated and written in context that it feels they gave freedom to us. No, Africans fought for their own freedom. Now let's experience the condemned cell, but let's please watch our heads as we move in. Let's watch our heads as we move in. Careful. Let's watch our heads as we move in.
We just did what you guys saw from the video. We checked out the slave quarters. Now we're checking out the remaining parts of the castle where the soldiers would stay. And stuff along those lines. It's a very big castle. I don't know how many soldiers right here operating this, but it took a lot. This is where the soldiers stay.
Palava Hall. So Palava meaning noise. Palava Hall meaning hall of noise. It's quite unfortunate there is Palava source in Ghana. So this area serves as an auctioning block or a slave market in the castle. In here, the Europeans will display the things they came to execute for the humans, as well as European doctors and nurses to examine the captives in here before they are being auctioned. Mirror, liquor, alcoholic beverages.
Just mirror. Look at the
carry the captives.
There was no air conditioning, so that's
Exactly. There was no fans at the time.
that's right.
So he needed much air. Now let's see his bedroom. Bedroom for the guy. 5 windows. So one person actually had 14 windows at a time. 2 extra windows this way, making 16.
And they were put down there with no windows. How big is that?
Those in here were humans. Those down there were goods, commodities to be transported. Now the English knew definitely other European nations will come fight them because they had taken this land through war. The Portuguese were first to be here. They mounted a wooden structure which on top Cabo Corso. Cabo Corso was corrupted to Cape Coast as we have today. Whilst the Portuguese were here enjoying, Sweden, the sweet king fought them, took over the land.
Who? Sweden?
Yes, please. They built a lodge, named it Carlsberg Fort.
Which people? The Swedish?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. It's something new to me. Yeah.
Peace and
So we were also here. Society for the Propagation of the Gospel was the name of the church. Real wickedness. The hole you saw down in the North Slave Dungeon, this is it. A spy hole right in front of the church. So the soldier will be here and with the aid of a torchlight, you can see whatever that is happening in the dungeon. Now the church also served as a school or classroom, but it was not meant for African kids. Neither was it meant for all European kids. Now the Europeans didn't bring their wives and children. Therefore, some of them married African women. The kids they had were educated in here. Others also took advantage of the female slaves. They were raping them.
In the church.
They were not raping them in here. Now, if you are found pregnant as a captive in the dungeon, they will take you out of the dungeon into the communities. Houses were built with doctors and nurses to take very good care of you till you put to bed. After childbirth, you breastfeed the baby for some time. They will take the baby and return the mother back into the dungeon, awaiting the next available ship.
Then what happened to the baby?
When they were of age, they were educated in here.
That's their own.
So they grew to become clergymen, missionaries, and slave masters, just as their fathers. Today's children's life meant for kids to come in and read. Right. We're about ending our tour.
Oh, is he in there?
No, please, it's lost. The librarian is not around.
Okay.
Now, the Ghana National House of Chiefs in 1992 acknowledged the role their ancestors played in the transatlantic slave trade. Some of them sold their prisoners of war. They gave out land for their castles forts to be built. In my own opinion, had it not been them, the Europeans couldn't have spent in the air to perpetrate this evil business. They wrote, and I quote, "In everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors, may those who died rest in peace. May those who return find their roots. May humanity never again perpetrate such injustice against humanity. We, the living, vow to uphold this." End of quote. They are saying they are using these words to apologize for the role their ancestors played in the transatlantic slave trade. I personally see no line of apology in these words. Instead, I see words of advice. Now, the effect of the trade is not on Africans alone, neither is it on the Europeans alone. And why do I say that? Yes, we are struggling to develop. Other people have developed hatred for some people. So they just see your skin color and they just hate you. All as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. As I earlier stated, I want to tell us what really happened in here are these walls. As we leave the castle today, what we've witnessed, let's not forget about this. I always say that a man without the knowledge of his own history is like a tree without roots. If we should forget this, definitely it will happen again. Nana Kofi Atta is my name. Thank you for visiting the castle. Safe journey back wherever you came from.
Thank you very much.